Hi everyone, it's Justine here from House of Mahalo. Thanks so much for joining me for this second part of this week's Sort It Out Saturday. So this week has been a little bit tricky to film. I think you'll notice from my scrap sorting earlier today, I didn't really know what I was going to have or how things were going to go, pan out. And I think that was just because I couldn't see what I had. With the book pages last week, I was able to, I knew where the book pages were and I had a feeling I knew what I owned. It was just, they were all over the place. But with the scraps, I just didn't know what was in that box. So this week has been a bit tricky to film, and I've been trying to think about what we could do craft project-wise together. Because as I mentioned in the video earlier today, I really wanted to get on top of my scraps as quickly as possible because I was just being overwhelmed by them. And so, I can't make 15, 20 masterboards on video because A, that would probably be not the most interesting video to watch, and B, I think 15 masterboards would take a lot longer than a 45-minute video. So what did I end up doing? Well, I've actually made several scrap busting projects. Or at least the beginnings of them. And I thought I would share with you what became of my scraps and how I did it and what I made with them. And then from there we will do a crafty project and I will explain more about what we're going to do later on. So for now, this was just for something pretty to look at. So for now I want to show you what I made with the scraps. Now in transparency's sake, I haven't gotten through all of my scraps. I have managed to halve what I had though, which I think is pretty good going, and I've done that in 2 mornings. So with my morning cup of tea, I've sat down for probably about 2 or 3 hours in total, and I've busted through half of my scraps. So I'll show you what I made. So I did go on and make some of those notebooks that I talked about. So I had a lot of plain scraps, if you remember me saying. So I've made some of these like little tear off pads. So I've made 5 of those, and these together have used up all of my plain writing paper type scraps. So the idea for these is they just go in the pockets of journals, and either you can tear off these little pieces to use in collaging or to make embellishments on your page or something like that. Or if you didn't want to do it like that, you could make little notes on here. You could write small notes. So I've made a few of those. So those are really, really easy, and as you can see, they're just stapled scraps. And aside from inking them and, maybe adding like a word to this one, maybe, or a fussy cut or something, they don't really need much more doing to them. So, I'm happy for those to go in my stash of ephemera. Then I also made some more traditional notebook ones, so opening this way. And again, these could do with, a little bit of embellishment, like we could have a sticker on here or a bit of lace or something. But aside from that, they don't need much else. This one, I would only put like a word down here, like joy or Christmas, because that's clearly going to go in my Christmas stash. But I made 5 of those as well. So that is 10 little scrappy notepad type things that I've made, or made the bases of, with the plain papers. So that's those. For the rest of the scraps that I got through, I've made a bunch of different sheets. So I will show you these because they might give you some ideas. So some of these are inspired very much by Tanya from Tatty Treasure. So if I remember, I will link her videos down below because she has been really, really instrumental in showing me ways of how to get on top of my scraps. So I obviously want to pay it back to her and say, check out her videos. But I thought I would just share with you what I'm going to do with mine and how mine came about. So what have we got here? So this is the first lot of, I want to call them collage sheets. They're not masterboards, they're collage sheets, I suppose, but I don't really know what to call them, to be honest. What these are these are book pages, sturdy ones, full of my strips. Do you remember I said I had a bunch of strips that I had a specific project for? Well, this is what has become of them. So these are strips for if you're cutting down your pages to make a journal or you're just cutting things down to size. you'll probably end up with a lot of just leftover strips like this. So all I've done, without any thought whatsoever, I have simply glued them onto this sturdy book page, which these are the index pages that I know we all have. And here's what I would do with these. So I first saw this on Tanya's channel. I use them slightly differently, and I will show you an example. So what we have here is an edging. So this could be a very pretty page edge, and I think you would have seen this in a few of my journals. It could be a very pretty page edge. Equally, you could chop into it and have this decorate some things. So if I bring in the envelopes that I had on my desk earlier, this is that same snippety thing that I've just adorned onto these envelopes to give them something interesting to look at. And you could do that with envelopes, pockets, journal covers, notebook covers, like just really anything. I mean, anything that you want to just give a little bit of an embellishment to. So I never thought about gluing my strips down onto paper to have them in one place. These, I've been making these like as and when I use them, like as and when I want them individually, which is yeah, I don't not a time saver at all. Doing it this way will definitely save me a bunch of time. So here's what I would do. I would tear, so this is a strip. This is the perfect base to make one of those. So for any ones that are plain, so for example, this one doesn't have much on it, I would either stencil or stamp onto it. And then from there, you've got a much prettier background to, in this case, add a strip of lace. And then I also added some sequin trim. And then I just zigzag stitched a small stitch all the way through. And straight away, you have something much more prettier than this. But it's the same sort of concept. So that's what I would do with the plain ones. And of course, some are, you know, pretty. So if you've got a pretty strip like this, I wouldn't do anything else to this apart from maybe I would add some lace, but that's just me. Otherwise, I would just tear it out and be done with it. With Tanya's suggestion, she does it this way. So what she ends up with is a strip like this, which has different papers, one after the other. That's how Tanya does it, and I will link her video below. I would tear it the other way, but that's just my style. You know, I do a lot of with lace, and so that's how I use those. So those are the strips. I don't have any more strips. These are the only strips I have left currently. I know I'll get some more, but that's a good way to use those. Then I made a bunch of our firm favourite masterboards. I know we've all made these. So I managed to do these. These came together really quite quickly, actually. I've made, I think, about 5 or 6 masterboards. And these came together so quickly because I colour-coded my scraps earlier. That's the only reason it came together so fast. So what I was able to do is simply sit down and say to myself, okay, I want to get through all of my green scraps. So I have no green scraps left. This is all I currently have is on these masterboards. So, you know, they came together so quickly because of that, because I just had my pile of green. Yes, I added in some neutrals, but for the most part, and some stamps, but for the most part, it was just the green. Oops, sorry, my topper is attacking me. It was just the green scraps. Likewise with purple, because I did the Franken journal covers the other day, I did a video on these. I didn't have that many purple scraps left, so I just made the one masterboard. And for this, I would cut this into probably 4 large journal cards and be done with it. And that's all purple scraps gone. And I also made just a more neutral version, because this is always handy to have anyway. So I could sit and make a bunch more masterboards. Now that my scraps are colour-coded, I will do these really, really quickly. And the last idea, which is very much inspired by Tanya from Chatty Treasure, as I say, I will link her video. These are, I think she called them cluster sheets. So I've made one of each colour. I've got purple, pink and green. And what these are, is they are the bases of paper clusters that are ready to be embellished. So as an example, say we have this here. We will tear it off of this sheet, and then from there we have a cluster that we can further embellish. Maybe we want to add a fussy cut, maybe a label or a word, or, you know, whatever it is that's in your style. Maybe you want to add a tab and have this as a page tab. However you want to use these, they are the bases of clusters ready to go. Now I struggle with layering, so having these ready to go really helps me, because straight away I can tear this off and just simply embellish it. And so I feel like making clusters going forwards is going to be a lot more streamlined and quicker, because you also get into a groove of doing this. So, you know, I think I started with these green ones. So these are long versions, which would be more like page edges or page tabs. And then you can do more like wider ones, fatter ones, like these, which could be then used to embellish whatever you like. Envelopes, pockets, page decorations, all kinds of different things. But it's worth remembering these are not finished. These are just the bases of clusters. And all we need to do now is tear them out and embellish them when we're ready to use them. So that is the cluster sheets. And all of these things combined together, I managed to halve my scraps. And I mean, you saw how many I had. So if you've got less scraps than me, you'll get through yours a lot quicker, which is great. So, you know, get to it. But, you know, I was starting with a lot of scraps because I just hadn't done proper scrap busting, like really stuck on top of it, at least in the beginning anyway. So yes, it was a bit of a marathon to get these done, but I managed it. Oh, and then what I was going to say is, again, from Tanya's suggestion, she was hanging her sheets like this from a book ring or a ring, hanging them up so she knows that they're always there. She can see how many she's got. She can see what colours that she's got. And instead of storing these in a folder, because I mean, these are just the sheets, and that's quite a lot, you know, especially if you're doing a marathon scrap busting like what I've just done. So hanging them up from the hook is going to be a big space saver as well. So I'm going to put some hooks up in my room, and this is going to be one of the things that will hang from it. So, you know, I know that I've got masterboards that I can just cut down. So if I'm in need of a journal card, I don't have to go out and make one from scratch. I could just cut one of these down in the colour that I want and then further embellish it and such like. So those are what became of my scraps. So what we're going to do now is, obviously we want to do a bit of crafting together. As I say, I didn't want to do this on video because it would have been just an insanely long video, and I really wanted to get through them, or at least, you know, as much as I could in the time that I had. So I hope you'll forgive me for that. Still plenty of scraps left, so if you do want to see me do cluster sheets, masterboards, or what have you with my scraps, just let me know and I'll happily come back and do a part 2 or something. That's fine with me. But for today, what we're going to do is I want to take a category of each thing. So maybe a notebook, maybe a masterboard, and maybe a couple of clusters. And then we would you know, get them to be finished ephemera. That's what I'm thinking that we'll do. So I'm just going to hit pause and get myself organised. You know, choose clusters, choose a board, and from there we will go with something crafty. I may need to edit the video quite a bit to get it into one video, but either way, I'm sure we'll come up with something really cool together. So I'm going to hit pause now, get myself organised, and we'll come back and we'll get a bit of crafting done. Speak to you soon. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I thought we would do a couple of the clusters from here, maybe these two. I thought we would do a couple of page tabs from this sheet, and then I thought we would cut up this masterboard because I think I would like to use one of these in the lapbook folio that I'm currently working on, if they work. So I thought we would cut this up together as well. So let's get the masterboard cut first. So I'll just do that quickly off camera. I'm probably just going to simply cut it into 4, but I always turn my masterboards over to cut them. So I will, I'll do that now, and I'll show you what they look like once they're cut up. Okay, so that's how this one came out. So we've got this great big journal card. I'm thinking I might like this for the folio. And then we've got 2 smaller journal cards which need focal points in the middle, and then I've got this little rough cut because I sort of wanted to keep that, and I thought potentially this could be a little pocket or something for a future journal as well. So I think those are pretty cool. I really like how they've turned out. So we'll decorate up 1 or 2 of these together, depending on how quick we can be. So I'll just put those to one side for now, because I want to pick these clusters. So as I say, I've never done this, so I just watched Tanya's video, and I'm hoping I can tear these out okay. So I want these two, I think. So the idea is that you just tear them out of the paper. So if I just take those off, and then the rest of them can go back to hanging up with the rest. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, let's try and tear these out. As I say, I saw Tanya's video a while back actually, and I really wanted to try it, and I thought this would be a really good excuse for doing it and seeing what we can come up with. So the idea is you just tear away any of the paper that you can see. So don't mind leaving it on the back, because it actually gives them strength as well. It's just a little bit tricky to tear out. So that's one. Looks very different not on the page, in a good way. And then we want to go on this one as well. So just follow in where I had my cluster. This is really fun actually. This is like, I don't know, junk journaling at its best. I knew that these were just scraps that I didn't know what to do with. And just right now, I love a torn edge. So I'm kind of in heaven right now, just ripping paper. I don't really mind about the rest of the video. Just like, I'll just sit here ripping paper all day. Don't worry, I will actually do something, but you know, you all get it. It's like, we all love tearing paper. It's so much fun. Right, let's see if we can get this off, because I glued this one very well. Oops. Okay, are we off? No, we're still on. I'm not sure where I've done this one. Okay, let's just take that off, but don't confuse myself. So that is that one. This is fun. I like these. So those two will decorate up. They won't need a huge amount, but we'll do them. And then a couple of these, I suppose. I was thinking maybe this one might be a good one. Maybe these two, seeing as they're together. Or this one. Not sure. So yeah, we'll do the same thing. So I might just pause whilst I do this, because it's just the same as that. I'm just ripping them oops, off of the sheet. Okay, so here's our plan for today then. Here's what I hope to get done. Might be ambitious, but we shall see. So I've got 3 green page tabs, a couple of clusters, I've got 2 purple journal cards, which to be fair don't really need too much anyway, and I was thinking we'll make this into a little pocket. So that's what we're going to achieve today, hopefully. So let me just get myself organised. I'm just going to get out some fussy cuts and labels and all fun things to decorate them with. And let's see what we can make out of these piles of scraps. Or what used to be piles of scraps. Okay, so I've got some bits and bobs out to start decorating up. I thought we would go with the journal cards first, because I imagine them being slightly easier, because I actually really like the backgrounds. So let's start with this bigger one. So I quite like the fact that there's this lilac flower here, and of course the stamp. So I don't want to cover anything like that up. And I imagine this is going to be the one that goes with the lapbook folio. So I thought there's a bit of a blank space here. So I was looking through some labels. So I've got this one from Nanine. It's her botanical labels kit. And I think, you know, it goes with the rest of the folio, because I've used her kit, her labels kit. I've got this word from a greeting card, because again, sort of, if I take it away, I'll just let you know what I was thinking. So when I look at that, my eye sort of draws here and sort of it feels like it's missing something. So by adding this word in, it adds a nice sentiment, but also sort of where I've overlapped it here, it just sort of brings it all together. It's like, it's a personal thing. It's just a, you know, you go with what you think is right. And really, I think that's all it needs, to be honest. I could add a second butterfly maybe, but then I worry, is it butterfly overload? Because I am conscious of that being the case. Let me just check this one. This one's got a number on it, which could work as well. So I either go with the bigger label to take up more of this sort of space, or I go with the smaller label for more interest. But the only thing is that I've used that label in the folio already, so I think I will go with that. And I'm going to try my hardest today not to take ages over tiny little decisions, because at the end of the day, picking the perfect label when most of the time, you know, they're probably all going to work really, aren't they? So let's go with it. Because I do have quite a few pieces to do. So ideally, I would like to get them all embellished. And of course, because they're all different pieces, I do want to make sure there's enough time for everything. Hopefully there is. It's a slightly different day today, because I had to spend some time looking through all my labels and words and just stuff like that, so that I just could get things out on my desk and not overwhelm myself when it came to embellishing. So I did that last night, and I can't actually remember how long the first part of the video turned out being, so I'm hoping I won't be on for a long time, but we'll just do what we can. And as always, if I need to edit down the video, then I'll just do that. So that's how this one looks, and I actually really like it. I am going to stitch around, as I always do. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think it needs anything else. So that's one done. Here's the other journal card. So this one, I was thinking about potentially having a fairy. So this fairy just fits perfectly. Now I had to chop into her flowers, so because she was a little bit too tall. And then I thought, well, I chopped off the top of the flower, and then thought, actually, if we position it right, we could actually get that in behind her head, and you'd never know that I chopped off a good centimetre of stem. So something like that. So I'll get her stuck down first, because I'm definitely sure about her. I don't think I'm going to add anything else to the background, just because, although I could, I don't think it needs it. I really, really like we've got neutrals in there, we've got purple in the background. I really don't think the background needs anything else. So let's get her stuck down first, because go with what you're sure of. Or at least in my case, if I just get on and stick down what I'm pretty sure that I want, it then means that I can't dilly-dally with every other decision that I make, because, well, you've committed to one thing, type of a thing. So basically I'm positioning her legs over parts of the background where bits were joining each other, if that makes sense. So where I've torn into pieces of paper, I was basically just hiding that or disguising that behind her, because then behind her head, behind her body and everything, it makes it look a lot more like the background becomes more sort of seamless, I suppose, is the word that I'm looking for. Rather than it looking so choppy. That's what I look to do with my focal points, is have it so that she covers up where pieces are joining, so that the background looks collaged but all sort of seamless type of a thing. So that's what I was going with. So I was thinking, I'll lift this up. I was thinking about potentially having it underneath. So again, the word, we're putting part of her wing over the word so that again it becomes seamless and part of the full design. So we've got imagine or we've got dream. And I'm not sure, what does this fairy say to me? Imagine or dream? I think I'll go with imagine, just because I liked them both and this one is already cut down to size. So I figure make it easy on ourselves, and you know, I didn't like one over the other, I liked both, so go with that. Okay. I always forget how much I just love doing, you know, cards like this. I really do. I forget all the time how much I just absolutely love them, because they come together so quickly. I will have a look at adding this butterfly. That looks nice. Let's see about pointing it that way. Possibly it's the wrong colour. So what I'll do is I'll leave the butterfly for now, but I may add one either here or around the stamp. And again, I'm going to sew around this one as well. But again, very quick, speedy journal card, all things considered. Now I do have this pocket, which I may do. I'm still umming and ahhing about it, which is, you know, not at all unlike me. So I've got this scrappy piece, which you've seen me use a few times now, because what I was trying to do is we have some leaves and a bottom of a stem and the top of this bottom of a stamp, so it's cut through. So I thought by using this piece, we could kind of give it a nice edging, the pocket, and then also disguise the fact that that is the case. So I might chop off the top of the pocket, and have a smaller pocket. I've got a flower, and again I'm trying to find a way to cover these joinings basically without, I didn't want to cover up any of these words really. I quite like the random stamping. So how are we going to do this one? Now I know I definitely want this, so I'm thinking let's just get this stuck down, and then the rest can come later. What I also wanted to do, I think, is cut into the side. I don't want quite as much on that edge, so just chop that off. Let me just see what that would be like with the flower. Because obviously where I've got a small flower, I'm just trying to make it so that I think we want a little bit less text. Oops, not cutting that particularly straight. I haven't cut any of that straight. Let me just try again. No surprises there. There we go. Right, let's just ink that around. So I have no idea what this pocket will be for. Probably my Flower Fairies, Purple Flower Fairies journal, I imagine. Of course, with cutting it down, it has become a smaller pocket. So it will be, you know, on something, I imagine. So, you know, that is the only thing to bear in mind when you're cutting into your collages is, you know, do bear in mind the size of the piece that you're doing. I don't mind having a smaller piece because I do think they come in useful for various things. It might be too small for a journal unless I'm going to put it on something, but I can make that decision when I come to use it. I sort of, with me, I don't know how many people do this, but I generally go with what fussy cuts that I've got, and everything else sort of can fit around that really. And that's only because I don't have a huge amount of, you know, different pieces to use. You know, I've got what I've got. So, yeah, I let the fussy cuts and the words and the labels and those things dictate what the rest of it will look like, I suppose. Okay, so we have that, and then if we were to have the flower, like so, and then we've got labels and words and things like that that we could use. I don't like this hands part, so I was trying to find a way to cover that up without covering up. I like the number over here. Oops. That's quite a cute pocket. Yeah, let's go with that. It's actually my first time making a pocket from a masterboard. I've been very good at cutting them down to make tags and journal cards. Yeah, I never thought about making pockets from them really until I saw, you know, various people doing it. And then I thought, oh, well, yeah, that's a good idea. As is the way with these things. Oops, just moving that slightly. But yeah, I'm loving how quickly these pieces are coming together. You know, all the background's done. You just need to find your focal points and what you want to be front and centre, you know. Okay. This flower will also cover up the join and also where we had that leaf from the masterboard. I wonder if I can. Oops. Just going to say I wanted to pull that down a little bit. There we are. Okay. I'm hoping I'm not doing this too quickly. Sort of have it in my head that I am quite slow when it comes to embellishing, and I do have all of the clusters and things to do as well. So I'm hoping I'm not being too quick. But what I will do is just bring them in, all of the pieces at the end, so you can see how everything looks. We'll remind ourselves, remind you how everything looks. Okay, just making sure that my butterfly wings are slightly puffed up. I think that could probably do a little bit more straightening up. Doesn't look quite right. I can't work out which side it is, so I'll fuss about it later, but essentially that's what my pocket is going to look like. And what I can always do is add a gusset to the back. I've done it before where I've added strips of paper folded up to give this, make it bigger, because obviously we have cut it down. But equally it can go on the front of an envelope or something. It doesn't have to be a pocket, it could even just be an embellishment. Whatever I end up using, it looks pretty, so that's the main thing. Okay, how are we doing? I think we're doing okay, fingers crossed. So I've got these clusters. So this is what we're starting with. So this one I didn't think needed a huge amount because we do have this focal image with the flower already, this purple flower. I am going to ink it some more. Just where I didn't do any inking when doing my clusters, so I just want to get some of those gaps like that. Okay, and just a little bit of glue in there. I feel very heavy-handed today. I don't know if it's just that I feel sluggish after having my lunch, so I just feel a little bit like I'm being really heavy-handed with everything. Okay, that's toned that down a little bit. So for this one I thought about just having a label. So again, we've got sort of a blank edge there, because I imagine the clusters, some of them may be page clusters, I may add tabs to them, I'm not quite sure. But I don't want a big label. Equally, we could have a label down the bottom and have, definitely need something else. So again, I've got various bits here. Let's just see. I've used that butterfly, haven't I? I'm trying very hard not to go rooting around too much because it's too much. So either we go with a small label. It's just the thing is, this looks blank to me, like a blank space, which is why I'm trying to cover that up. But then I look down here and I feel like it's missing something. But then when I put both on, it then looks like it's too much. You know, it becomes quite boxy. So I have to make a decision, either we go top or bottom with one of these labels. Because I can always tear that bit off, couldn't I? You know, you don't have to stick with the cluster shape that you got. Or go at the top. I think I might just do that and just keep it simple. I'm trying very hard not to over embellish. You can always add more to it when you come to use them. Like if I find that it needs a tab or a word or something. Because at the end of the day, I have no idea how I'm actually going to use these, having never made clusters in this type of a way before. But I mean, it looks cool. It looks like it could be used. I think I might need to put a little bit of washi just there, which I could possibly use as, I don't know, because it's got a little bit of a tear where I was a bit rough with the ink in, so I might need to do something. It still feels like it's missing something though, and that's very me. That's I do like a lot on things. I just want to see. Yes, I think I will do that. Just because otherwise I feel like it's not got everything that I want on it, you know. I don't mind having lots of words in my journals. For me, the words are prompts as well. You know, if I had this on a page and I was thinking about what would I wish for, you know, that would be what I'd be thinking. So yeah, I definitely want to put some washi or just some extra glue or something where I've got that tear, but no matter, it will be stuck down on something, so. Right, then we've got this pink one, which is slightly smaller in size. And I did wonder whether we could have it be the base of a ticket cluster, which I love making. I think I saw the idea originally on Tanya from Tatty Treasure, and I went off to go make a whole bunch of them, and I loved making them so much. So I'm just kind of building up some things here. I'm sorry if I'm not talking through exactly everything that I'm doing. As I say, I'm feeling a little bit tired today, and so I'm a little bit quiet. But we've got a ticket that I've cut from a die, we've got a clock from the journal boat, and these little pink flowers that I think actually came from a larger fussy cut. And then I've just got a word from a book, which I thought might go in there somewhere. So that's option one. The alternative is this, but I don't like the way that it curves. And I've got stamps, but I quite liked the clock, so I think we will go with that. So let's just ink around these, and then what I'll do is I'll stick the clock to the ticket so that I can get those in the right place where I want them. So if I put a little bit of glue down this side and do that. It's a shame because I'll be covering up that word that says cancelled just there, which I actually really liked. But it was one of those things. It you know, it needed some kind of a focal point, and then just like that. So then we'll stick this down. I love using clocks and tickets. You know, I do a lot of like floral journals and stuff, as we know. But I find clocks and tickets and shapes like that just work with anything. Okay. You know, they can be steampunk or they can be pretty. I think the options are, you know, just go with what you like the look of. And what I'm trying to do with these clusters is leave space for if I were to add a tab, if I was going to use them in that way. Again, they could just be page decorations or embellishments for envelopes or pockets and things like that. But if I did want to use them as page tabs, page edgings, is there an option to do that? So for example, on this one, if I add the word in, oops, it's getting stuck to me. Say I added it there, there's still room for other things. You know, we could have a tab or we could have an eyelet with a charm coming off of it, which actually would look very nice. The only thing I do want to do is just move that flower up a bit. There we go. I think actually an eyelet with a charm would look very nice on that. I don't know what charm. A little leaf or something I think could look quite nice. So I might think about that later. So this, I just want to try and slip this under there. There we go. This will be from a book or a greeting card or something. That's that one so far. As I say, a tab or a charm or something would probably look quite nice on that one. Oh goodness, it's taken me longer than I thought it would. So hopefully we've got time to do them all. If I suddenly have to cut to the end, then sorry you didn't get to see all of them. Okay, so now we've got some green clusters. Fingers crossed we've got time. So I have sort of vaguely had an idea. So this one is quite wide and I probably wanted to not have quite as much book page in the foreground, or any, to be fair. And I quite liked this bright leaf on there. This one, I liked the curve of the leaf, sort of seemed to follow. And then we've got some ivy, which seemed to again just be the right sort of size for this one. If I maneuver it somehow. So we'll go with this one first because this one will be a bit easier. And I've got some labels and things that we might want to add as well. So these in theory should be page tabs or page edges because they're long. Aren't they? But that's not to say they can't just be long, like they don't have to have tabs on them, is what I'm trying to say. It's been really raining a lot today. Lots of hailstones recently as well, actually. Just moving that over a bit. There we go. Don't want to lose that flower if I were to add a label down here. Possibility. Don't know if it should go over there a little bit. Just manoeuvring the leaf. Okay. Yes, I like that. I like that a lot. So let's stick this down. So I've got a green flower fairy journal, which is quite sort of botanically. I'm sure that's not a word, but we're going to pretend it's a word for now. So I'm making extra green embellishments at the moment because I'll use quite a few in the Flower Fairies journal, being 2 signature hardcover is what I'm aiming for. But I also plan on doing other botanical projects in the future as well. So with this one, now I wasn't such a huge fan, so start again. This leaf is not quite as big as this, and I did think I might do a little bit of stenciling. If I can grab my, there we are, grab my sheet, just to get rid of some of the plainness in the background. So just do that. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera. I think I pressed quite hard on that. Okay. So this cluster was packing materials, some wallpaper and some tea bag and book page. Okay, so we have this, and then we've got a label. So if I bring that down, I think definitely want to take some of this cluster, so let's just do it. As I say, I don't, where the fussy cut is a lot smaller, don't want it to look quite so empty. Sorry if you can hear that rain, it's really coming down. And the wind as well, really, really windy. I think the label is a bit big on this one. So, what else have we got? It's a longer one, but it's, yeah, it's not quite right either. Nope. Not all of these are actually sciencey labels, but I don't mind. No. There's always one that is tricky. Just in case inking helps. Okay, let's think. What do we want? I like the dark brown of this label, you see. Yes, I do. It's just the size of it. I know I could print labels a different size, but I kind of just want to use what I've got. And this one doesn't seem to want to... Oh no, I suppose. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Because again, we can always add more to them. Because in my head I'm thinking, are we going to have a page tab on it? We might do. I just don't want to do the page tabs just yet because I don't want to get them on the wrong side or something. That's the only reason I'm not going for it. So these will be more or less finished. Like half, 2/3, 3/4 of, you know, way to go sort of thing. So that's not too bad. But I think I really will have to cut out parts of the video, unfortunately, as much as I don't want to. Just feel like, despite me having an idea of what I wanted, I've still been quite slow. Oops. Okay. Here we go. So this one would be this side on the page. So imagine this is the page here, like this, like so. Only because we've got this overhanging, so I would have that on that side. So if I was going to add a tab would be here, which I think would work actually fine, maybe with a charm on it as well, lilac and charm. So expect these to pop up again in the future. Whilst we're here, we might as well see about getting this one done. So this is some ivy from a Stemperia pad, and it almost sort of follows the shape of the piece, but we do want to just get rid of some of that, just the white. Okay, there we go, it's a bit less glaring white now, that's better. And then for this one I'm going to have this somewhere. So I think the easiest thing would be to get the leaves down first. Okay, how do we want to do this then? So obviously this bit needs to come off because it's not enough room, so excuse me. I'll use that for something else. So we would be like this. That one's coming over like so. Okay, I think we can manage it. So let's come in with our glue. Yeah, sorry if I've not been very talkative today. I should learn not to do videos in the afternoon, because as much as it allows me to get things organised in the morning, I do feel like I suffer from afternoon slump far too much. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but never mind. You get the gist of what I'm doing, even if I'm not saying, I'm not full of conversation today. I'm going to blame the rain. It's the rain's fault. Okay, right. How's that? Okay, and then we've got the label, which is an officey label, but I'm pretending it's like a specimen label. Just need to decide where best to. Oh, I quite like it there. Just breaks up that space as well a bit, you see. Almost like it's a specimen label for the ivy. And that was the last one, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I don't know if I have any gentlemen watching me. I don't think I've seen very many gentlemen commenting. But anywho, I might do. Hello, if you're hello to all. There we go. So that definitely needs more, but the more could be again a tab. I do have this word leaves, which maybe, but again it feels like it's too much. It's just I'm not very good at leaving things half done. Like, I'm saying to myself, oh, it's okay, you might add a tab and a charm and stuff like this later once you know what side it's going on. I think it's my perfectionism. I really, really struggle with walking away from my desk thinking to myself, but it needs more, it needs more. When, you know, the more can come later once we know where these pieces are going. I don't know if I'm the only one who experiences that, so I'd love to know if that's you. I really struggle with walking away from things half done, even if I'm telling myself it's the rest is coming later. But anyway, we managed to get all the pieces decorated. Hopefully you got a chance to see them all. So we have 3 green botanical type clusters, which I really, really love. Hopefully I'm holding them in the right place for you. That's those. So as I say, they'll be either for my green Flower Fairies journal or my botanical projects, or both. And then we've got a purple cluster and a pink cluster. I imagine these both would be perfectly fine for my purple Flower Fairies journal, or they'll just go into stash. Journal card for the folio, which I may add a butterfly to. I still feel like it needs more. And I still need to back them and sew around. Fairy card, again, still need to sew around and back it. And then we have either a pocket or an embellishment or something of that vein, which will crop up again, I'm sure. So I really enjoyed making those pieces. I will 1000% do all of these scrap busting projects again. The masterboards, I always love doing masterboards, but I never sit down to do it. That's half my problem. So I'll definitely do those again. And the clusters, taking inspiration from Tanya as to how she does her clusters, loved it. I think they've come out perfectly. And I found them a lot quicker and easier to do than if I was just sitting down with my scraps trying to come up with these straight away, as opposed to doing the layering and then adding the focal points and the words and labels and things later on. So I'll definitely do it that way again as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm so sorry if it was a bit long. I will try and cut it down as best I can. And as always, I'll see you on the next video. And if you're tuning in next week for Sort It Out Saturday, then I'll see you for that as well. I don't know what next week will be. I'm hoping that it will be, I say I'm hoping, I mean it could be anything. I'm not sure. It'll either be tools and odds and ends, or it will be fabric scraps and laces. I'm sort of putting those two together, so it'll be one of those two, I'm sure. But either way, I'll see you next week, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye for now.